Listen, I want to welcome everyone to the historic Douglas Theater. What an honor and pleasure to welcome you today as the Douglas, started in 1921 by African American mayor Charles Henry Douglas. And we're so excited because we have Marlanna J here with us today. But before we get to all of that, I'd just like to introduce myself. I am Dr. Shelton Land. It's a privilege and honor to serve as the executive director of the Douglas Theater. And man, I am so excited to sit here with Marlanna J to take a deeper dive into her book, Riding the Waves. And so we're going to hear all about that today, but a little bit about the Douglas. As I said, we are a historic theater, started in 1921. And I always try to put this in perspective for people, right? 1921, an African-American male, Charles Henry Douglas, and his wife, Fanny Applin Douglas, right? Started this theater as a safe space where Black creatives could come and thrive, but feel safe while doing it, right? So he passed away in 1940, but it was his wife that kept the legacy active and alive. And so even today, as we have evolved as to a more multicultural space, still focusing on that Black experience and those Black artists, it's like I tell people, you have to get in and you have to feel it, right? So again, it's an honor and a privilege that you came to join us today, Marlanna, to let us love on you and to share your story, because I always tell people we must tell our stories. As Black folk, as the next generation of creatives, we have to keep telling our stories in order to get an accurate narrative, right? And so speaking of stories, as we shift to you, and you're here with your book today, I want you to first tell us a little bit about Marlanna J. And I'm going to get my paper because I got a list of questions for you.
Okay.
I know people are going to love. So tell us a little bit about you.
Well, as you said, I'm a creative. I've been in entertainment management for over 20 years. Worked with Angie Stone, Life Jennings. I still do some work with the NFLPA in Atlanta. Worked with Tyrone Poole, just a number of people. Dominique, I just talked to him. He did some things. We did some things with Universal. I actually worked with Universal Records and did some showcasing, Sweet Arbor Fest, Mableton House, list goes on, right? Used to bring in bands and still bring in some bands in Atlanta. I've always done radio in some form or fashion. And I also did theater. And I actually had a theater scholarship from Austin Peay State University in Clarksville, Tennessee, but didn't go to Clarksville on that theater scholarship.
Okay.
But I worked in business and did some things in business so that I could make the money, right? And all my passion was doing community work.
Wow.
So I worked in nonprofit community work, did mentorships for youth programs and young people, after school programs. I created the first modern dance art class in Orlando, Florida for after school program, and they actually funded me. So for 20 plus years, I've been always passionate about our community, our people, our young people, our older people, our seniors, right? And even people that transition, right? From where they are, whether they've been in prison. I worked with the women that transitioned from prison to the workforce. And so I've done some things, and I've met some wonderful people. And I'm so happy to be in such a historical place with historians all around me. But more importantly, I love this room because it's filled with people that have donated a part of themselves to be better in life. And so that's what I'm doing through my book, is donating my story so that people can be better in life.
Wow. Listen, you have a long menu, a very fulfilling menu, I should say, of accolades and list of things. And, and especially it stood out to me when you just said, you have worked with returning citizens of incarceration, right? So especially those women, right? And and I know you're referencing the exhibit that's the photo exhibit that's called The Perfect Gift, about donors and recipients. I love how you tied that in, and when people do tell their story, they are donating their life experiences, their stories to help the next generation, the next generation of folk. Now, let me slide these glasses on because you know I can't hardly see without them. But that's all right. Touch your neighbor and say it's all right.
It's all
All
right.
right now. But listen, so I do have a list of questions as
Okay.
we take a deeper dive into your book right here,
Okay.
Riding the Waves.
Yeah.
And it says, when challenges come our way.
Yeah.
That right there is a shout within itself. So when we think about that, tell me this. Why do you think this story, your book, is needed now?
Ooh, I will say, I talk about it in my introduction, how we need each other. Self-esteem is very prevalent in our society. We have a lack of moral compass right now in our country. People aren't leaning on each other. They're leaning into each other, right? Whether it be on a negative end or a positive end. But we're not leaning on each other, meaning if you have a talent and gift and I'm not good at that, I can lean on you for that. And then what I can do good, you can lean on me. And what happens is our equilibrium mellows out.
Okay.
Our foundation is better. And internally, we grow better. We reflect better. And then our self-esteem increases to a positive end instead of always reflecting as though we're failures. And I think we are failures because we compete against each other. And right now, we are more competitive than ever before. We have more negative things happening in our world today through politics and through things that are happening in this earthly realm that we cannot change.
Right, right.
You know, we can't change it, but we can change ourselves.
Okay, absolutely.
We can change our reflection. We can
Okay.
change how we view ourselves. If I didn't accomplish something, am I going to look down at the other person because they did? You know, there's so much jealousy with that. You know,
Right.
and I'm prayerful that this book will help recreate some places within ourselves that help rebuild some of those negative energies that have been taken on by our circumstances.
I love that. I love that as you talk about the cooperative aspect of it and how do we work together. You know, a lot of times we borrow those terms, collaboration,
Yeah.
collectivism, and all of these things,
Yes.
especially with the world and what we're facing now.
Yes.
Now, what a better time to be cooperative,
Yes.
you know, and how do we cooperate? How do we come together and work together? I love that piece of it. Now, I would want you just to talk a little bit about the process of developing, you know, the book and pulling the book together, especially since is this book based off your lived experiences, right? You said that.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
the process in that, you know, what was it into like developing that and some of the challenges
Yeah.
that you faced with that?
I think the first challenge is how do I tell my story and not tell it to the point where it implodes a lot of emotions that are not necessary, but healing. And it took me a long time to get to a place where I wanted to share my story in a way that would be positive because I'm like an enthusiastic person. I want it always to be positive end. I'm not optimistic on the fact that people are going to look at me and judge me because I do tell a lot of personal things, but I don't care. I don't care that you know my grandfather was a crack cone, you know, it hung out on crack cocaine at 65 because the reason why I share that is because no matter how great you think you are and how invisible you think you are, there's always some kind of vice that can get to you, right? And so sharing, and he passed in 2011, sharing my story over time, over 10 years. It took me 10 years to dive into to really writing it
Wow.
because when I first got divorced, I said, I'm going to write a book. I need to share this because people need to know my story. And it wasn't time yet. Some other things had to happen. And then when about 3 years ago, 4 years ago, it was time to start talking to actual publications and things like that to help me edit. But really, I got to this year and got everything edited, got everything published within months.
Wow.
But it took me 10 years to get it to this place.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Now that's amazing. So that's very fitting because we
Yeah.
are here at the Douglas Theater where, now we say we're the Showtime of the South. And we know this is a place where legendary performances and performers and creators have come, graced the stage, just graced the building itself.
Yeah.
So what a more fitting time, and we, you just shared like your process and all of that. Now, could you speak to, from your perspective, what inspiration do you want your book to have on people and how you want people to remember the stories in your book?
I think inspirational wise, I'm going to do some excerpts from that. I really want to. This is one inspiration that I want people to hear. I'm gonna read this. This is Wings of Inspiration. The purpose of life is like the experience of a butterfly. First, we crawl through life on some rough areas. Then we go into a dark place for some time. This dark place can be lonely, quiet, and a state of sleep where we are emotionless. In this dark state of life, thoughts, things, habits, patterns are released. Whether it is a relationship that weighed us down, a negative memory from our past where it was abusive or we had issues in our family that we weren't able to get through, that will hold us on until we are bound to that past. And then our self-awareness of who we are is really revealed. That is when the real change occurs. Relationships of our best self are revealed. Our new attitudes, our new actions, our new thoughts are created with a new perspective of self-awareness. And I think that when we are really inspired internally from all the things we've experienced, that's when we get inspired to do more, go higher, achieve more, and be better at who we are.
Wow. Just me listening to that. Now, I'm going to tell you, and to be honest, now I'm sitting up here, right, as a representative of, that's the interview, because that's one of the things that I do. Yeah. Now, in full transparency, I haven't purchased the book yet, but I'm going to, just from you reading the excerpt, it's going to make me purchase this book, right? Okay. So definitely, the Douglas is definitely going to purchase the book, right? And I feel that inspiration. I feel all of those things. And because when we talk about impacting people, we want to leave a lasting, lifelong, impression on people. Yeah. And so, and I'm listening. So, is there a place in the book that people can take notes, jot things down? Or there it is. So, talk a little bit more about that. Give us like what to expect. What's like? I read this. Like I just heard you read this. So it makes me want to pull out my own pen and paper and say, oh, wow. You talked about, and that's how we become self-awareness. Yes. That strengthens our self-awareness and things, and people like me, as I didn't reach this age and, somebody got to write things down because I forget things. I'd be like, I said that when. so it's also kind of like it doubles as a workbook.
It does.
Okay, so talk about that for us.
I think that's one reason why I love what I've done, and it's through God's grace. He gave me the idea of a journal inside each chapter. Some people have journals on the outside of their book, but my book has the journal inside each chapter. And what's nice is I ask you to reflect. So what I just read from Wings of Inspiration, that chapter, it says, what in your life was a butterfly experience for you? I want you to go back. When did you go through the metamorphosis of life and grow in a period in your life? When did you grow? What lessons did you learn through that dark time? Because we've all had some dark times in our life, right? Mm-hmm. It makes you think. Mm-hmm. And then I want you to reflect on those things and keep focus on your future and then write them down. Wow. Because if you write it down and make it plain, you can go back and say, you know what? I need to inspire myself. Let me go back and read what inspires me, who inspires me, and why I'm inspired to move to the future.
I love that. No, that is a good niche because as I listen to that and then knowing that it's internal, and you're right, most books, they come with an external journal where people can journal something, but yours is embedded in the book.
Yeah.
So not only is it serving, or you are serving in your stories, serving something that will evoke thought, but also like a thought partner.
Yes.
Yeah, and a knowledge partner.
Yes.
And so when you can have that, and it's kind of like documented, that's a great thing, you know. So as we talk about that, and we talk about documenting, we talk about Marlanna J as a creative, share what's next for Marlanna J, the creative.
What's next? Well, I have some friends in the audience to help me to stay on point and task.
Okay.
As I grow in this arena, this is a new arena for me, being an author. I've done a lot in my lifetime, and everything that I've done evolves into this. Whether it be speaking amongst people, 1,000 to 10,000 people. I've danced in front of 10,000 people before. I used to dance with Israel Horton. I've done dance with Marvin Sapp. I was a gospel praise dancer and was called and paid as a praise dancer years ago. Now, one of the first ones to break out and actually do liturgical dancing and teach liturgical dancing in Florida when churches weren't even wanting that in their churches. I had to fight through some of those ropes. When I think about what this means to me, it gives me an opportunity to speak to the heart of people, to change, to inspire, to motivate. And I'm going to utilize this book as a platform for my radio. I have a radio program that comes on Bayshore Radio on iHeart on Thursdays at 4 o'clock. For those who are all over and listening, you can listen to me anywhere in the world. I have a podcast on YouTube channel, on the Marlanna J Today channel. And that's going to be expanding soon too. That's going to be expanding. I've had it on Roku, and it's going to be expanding as well on some different platforms. I think for me, the speaking is going to be the key. In the upcoming months, I'm actually already geared for 4 speaking engagements. I think it's going to be important that I speak to the multitude. Regardless of the number of people in a room, it goes beyond that, because there's always someone who can benefit from what you have to say if you have something to say from the heart. If you're speaking from a legitimate place, a authentic place, and that's where I want to always be. I have other projects, but this right here, this book right here is my first book, and I know I'll have many books to come. But again, my radio station, the podcast, and I'm in some movies, and it's endless, right? And I'm a businesswoman for those who need marketing and development. I've got my own company called MJ Management. So it's the sky and the moon is the limit.
Wow, Marlanna J on location. I know that's right. Y'all here to hear first. Y'all are here to hear. So, you know, catch on our heart on Thursdays and what's going on. You got so much going on. I should have recorded all of that. Yeah, that was a whole lot. Yeah. But listen, so as we begin to wrap up, I do want to ask you, how much are the books, and where could people go to purchase the books after tonight?
Yeah, you can go on Amazon. I know a lot of us are boycotting Amazon, which is rightly so. If they're not hiring us anymore, but if they're still hiring us, we okay, right? Well, some of us. Okay. Okay. Some of us are. But actually, Amazon has done very well for me. I've got 5-star on Amazon. So if you want to go to Amazon and continue to increase my numbers, I would appreciate that. But I am on Barnes and Noble, and I'll be doing another book signing at Barnes and Noble in Atlanta. We're working on that probably I think they told me in June or July. I don't get my dates messed up there. But actually did a book signing here in Macon at the Barnes and Noble in Macon. It was fantastic. Met a lot of people, sold all my books, and it was just great. So I am on Barnes and Noble. You can find me on Barnes and Noble. And if you want to reach out to me, you can also reach out to me, Marlanna J, and that's at marlannabrooks.com. And you can also call me on social media as well, and you can reach out to me, and I will get a copy to you signed. So yeah, and as far as the journal and what you can get out of this, on the back I put, we all have the ability to trust God. It is up to us to accept his love and trust his promises. As we read the daily word or read the word daily, pray daily, and work with others to be the best version of ourselves, life will flow better. We will receive the reward of happiness with complete joy as we ride each wave in our lives like champions that we are already victorious. And that's what my hope is that when people get this book, that they will read it, do the journaling for themselves. And after you do the journaling, you will have your own book to tell. That is my prayer, is that authors that are embedded in them will be revealed through their own story, and you'll be able to tell your story better through journaling as you read mine.
All right. Well, I'm definitely going to get my copy autographed.
Okay.
And so now, before we close, is there anything else you would like to share?
Um, I would say don't limit yourself to what people want to box you in as. I have my MBA. I went back to school. I'm a mother of 4 adult children, 2 grandchildren. Um, and I am really truly honored that even though I'm the age that I am, I've evolved myself into who God has created me to be. I'm not limited by what people tell me I can and cannot do. I still do business. I still work a corporate job because until God puts me on a level where this is sustaining me, I still want to work, right? We always want the dream to happen immediately, but I understand if we work every day at our dream, we're accomplishing our dream and we're getting to the goal. So, but yeah, you can reach me, you can reach out to me. I'm available. Call me at 317 665 2864 if you want anything as far as business is concerned, business acumens, um, marketing, developing, any of that, and the book itself.
Wow. Well, Marlanna, I appreciate you coming and hang out with us here with the Douglas and gracing us with your book and sharing with our folk here. It's just a joy and things like that. So with that, we're gonna open it up. Anybody want to come and buy a book, do whatever. I guess you're gonna autograph the books. They can buy them. You have it all set up right here on the table. And so again, thank you on behalf of the Douglas Theater, our board, our staff, and just me personally. I just say thank you. Thank you for connecting with me and just saying, hey, bringing this to the Douglas. Another historic moment, another historic event. I appreciate you.
I appreciate you, Dr. Shelton. And I also want to thank my sponsor, Jim Tech, that actually sponsored this event. They do security, cybersecurity. They do commercial security, and you can reach out to them as well. But I would like to thank also all the people that helped make this event happen, including the Douglas Theater and Dr. Sheldon Land, right?
You sit there and I look out into the crowd and I see our brother, Renaldo Tharp. We gotta thank Renaldo. Because this wouldn't have happened because he said, hey, it's somebody I want you to meet. I said, who? I said, Renaldo, I ain't got time to come eat no lunch. Who is this? So being able to him connecting us, meeting, you always go back to the start. How did this even start and come to fruition? And so everything is planted by a seed, I think, because things grow from a seed. And so had he not planted the seed and made the connection, and I think the watering and the things like that, the watering is, calling and checking in. Yeah. Hey, what's happening? Hey, what's this? So he is. He about his business. So I give him the accolades
And
on
then the
that.
people that did the food, I want to thank
Yeah.
Tammy and her organization.
Okay.
She does plates and things like that. And I'll have the information for her business on the website,
Okay.
so that you all can connect with her if you want any catering.
Awesome.
All right.
Awesome. Well, again, we thank you. And so, hey, again, y'all, the books, we got them over here, and whatever we do, I appreciate you.
Thank you, Dr. Shelby.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.